Captain Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant Dawn, watching the stars through the massive viewing window. The ship was beautiful and powerful. It was humanity's pride, built with the best technology Earth could make. 847 people called this ship home. They were explorers, scientists, engineers, and soldiers. All of them were far from Earth, looking for new worlds and new life. "Captain, we are getting close to the target area," said Communications Officer Nam Ji-woo. She was the youngest person on the ship, only 24 years old. But she was very good at her job. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. Kim Tae-ho nodded. He was a tall man with kind eyes, but everyone knew he was tough when needed. He had been in space for 20 years. This was his third deep space mission as captain. "Good work, Nam. Dr. Park, what do you see out there?" Dr. Park So-min looked up from her science station. She was studying the readings on her screen. Her face showed worry. "Captain, the energy readings are very strange. I have never seen anything like this before. The numbers keep changing. Sometimes they are very high, then they drop to almost nothing." "Is it dangerous?" asked Lieutenant Commander Lee Dong-woo. He was the head of security. His job was to keep everyone safe. He was a big man with strong hands and sharp eyes. He always thought about danger first. "I do not know," Dr. Park said honestly. "The energy is not like anything in our books. It could be natural, or it could be made by someone." Engineer Choi Hye-jin spoke from her station. "Captain, our engines are working fine. If you want to leave quickly, we can do that." She was small but very smart. She knew every part of the ship's engines better than anyone. Kim Tae-ho thought for a moment. They had come very far to study this area. Earth Command wanted to know about the strange energy readings that other ships had detected. But keeping his crew safe was most important. "Take us closer but slowly," he said. "Keep all shields up. If anything looks wrong, we leave right away." The Defiant Dawn moved forward through space. It was a huge ship, almost 2 kilometers long. It had strong weapons and thick armor. But it was built for exploring, not fighting. The crew hoped they would never need to fight anyone. As they got closer to the energy source, the readings got stronger. Dr. Park watched her instruments carefully. "Captain, I am seeing something very unusual. The energy is coming from empty space. There should be nothing there, but something is there." "Can you see it?" Kim Tae-ho asked. "Not with normal sensors, but if I change the settings." Dr. Park worked at her controls. Suddenly, the main screen showed something impossible. There was a hole in space itself. It was dark and twisted, like a wound in the universe. "What is that thing?" Nam Ji-woo whispered. "I think it is a wormhole," Dr. Park said. "But it is not natural. Someone built this. The energy patterns show it is being controlled." Lee Dong-woo stepped closer to the captain. "Sir, I do not like this. If someone built that thing, where are they? Why is it here?" Before Kim Tae-ho could answer, alarms started ringing all over the bridge. The ship shook hard. Everyone grabbed onto something to stay standing. "What is happening?" the captain shouted. Choi Hye-jin checked her controls. "Something is pulling us. The engines are at full power, but we are being dragged toward that hole." "All stop. Reverse engines," Kim Tae-ho ordered. "I am trying, Captain, but it is not working. The pull is too strong." The ship shook harder. Books and equipment fell from tables. The lights flickered. Dr. Park held onto her station and watched the readings. "Captain, the hole is getting bigger, and the energy is increasing very fast." Kim Tae-ho hit the communication button. "All hands. This is the captain. We have an emergency. Everyone go to emergency stations now. This is not a drill." All over the ship, people heard the captain's voice. In the engine rooms, workers ran to their posts. In the medical bay, doctors prepared for wounded people. In the weapon rooms, soldiers got ready for battle. Everyone was scared, but they did their jobs. "Captain, I'm losing control of the ship," Choi Hye-jin said. Her voice was calm, but her hands shook as she worked. "The pull is too strong. We are going to be pulled into that thing." Nam Ji-woo tried to send a message to Earth. "I cannot reach anyone, Captain. Something is blocking all communications. Earth cannot hear us." The hole in space was now huge. It filled the main screen. Inside it, they could see swirling colors and strange lights. It looked alive, like it was hungry for their ship. "Everyone hold on," Kim Tae-ho shouted. The Defiant Dawn was pulled into the wormhole. The ship spun and twisted. The crew felt like they were being torn apart. The lights went out. Emergency power came on, making everything red and scary. Dr. Park watched her instruments until the last second. "Captain, I am detecting massive energy spikes. This wormhole goes very far. We are being taken to another part of the galaxy." Then everything went dark. When the crew woke up, they were not in space anymore. They were lying on cold metal floors in a place they did not know. The air smelled wrong. The gravity felt different. Strange lights hurt their eyes. Kim Tae-ho opened, his eyes first. His head hurt badly. He looked around and saw his crew waking up too. They were all in a large room with gray walls. There were no windows. The only light came from panels in the ceiling. "Is everyone okay?" he asked quietly. "Doctor," Park sat up slowly. "I think so, Captain, but where are we?" Before anyone could answer, a door opened. Tall figures walked into the room. They were not human. They had gray skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were black and cold. They looked at the humans like they were looking at insects. One of the aliens spoke. Its voice was harsh and ugly. "Humans, you are now prisoners of the Zephyrian Empire. You will work for us until you die. If you try to fight, you will be punished. If you try to escape, you will be killed." Kim Tae-ho stood up. Even hurt and scared, he was still a captain. "I am Captain Kim Tae-ho of the United Earthship Defiant Dawn. By space law, you must treat us fairly. We have done nothing wrong." The alien made a sound like laughing, but it was not friendly. "Your laws mean nothing here, human. You are very far from your little planet. No one will come to save you. You belong to us now." More aliens came into the room. They had weapons that looked very dangerous. "Move," one of them said. "Work time begins now." As the crew of the Defiant Dawn was forced to walk out of the room, Kim Tae-ho looked at his people. He saw fear in their eyes, but also anger. He knew that humans were strong. They had survived many hard times before. He did not know that this was just the beginning. He did not know that they would be prisoners for years. He did not know about the terrible things the Zephyrians had done to other worlds and other people. But he also did not know that one day, his ship would return to Earth. And when it did, it would bring something the galaxy had never seen before. It would bring human wrath. The prison world was a nightmare. Captain Kim Tae-ho had been there for 3 months now, and every day was worse than the last. The planet was called Keth 7 by their alien captors. It was a dark place with red skies and no sun. The only light came from the prison's giant towers that reached up into the clouds. Kim Tae-ho worked in the deep mines with 200 other humans from his ship. They had to dig for strange blue crystals that the Zephyrians used for their weapons. The work was hard and dangerous. The air was thick and hard to breathe. Many people got sick. "Captain," whispered Lee Dongwoo as they worked side by side, "we need to do something. People are dying every day. Yesterday we lost 3 more crew members." Kim Tae-ho looked around carefully. The Zephyrian guards were always watching. They had 4 arms and carried electric sticks that could hurt a human very badly. "I know, Lee, but we must be smart. If we act too fast, they will kill us all." The guards were cruel. They hit the humans for small mistakes. They gave them very little food. The water tasted bad and made people sick. The sleeping area was crowded and cold. Sometimes humans were taken away and never came back. Dr. Park So-min worked in a different part of the prison. The Zephyrians had put her in the medical area because she was a doctor, but she was not helping humans. She was forced to help the aliens study human bodies. It made her feel sick, but she had no choice. "Hold still," she told a young crew member named Kang Woo-jin. The Zephyrians wanted her to take his blood for their tests. "I am sorry," she whispered. I have to do this or they will hurt us both. Kang Woo-jin nodded. He understood. Everyone understood that Dr. Park was trying to help them survive. She secretly tried to make the humans stronger by giving them vitamins when the guards were not looking. But Dr. Park was also learning. She watched the Zephyrians carefully. She learned their language by listening. She saw how their technology worked. She was a smart woman, and she knew this information might help them someday. Engineer Choi Hye-jin worked in the machine shops. The Zephyrians made her fix their equipment. She hated helping them, but she also learned about their technology. She saw how their weapons worked. She learned about their ships and their computers. This is interesting, she thought as she worked on a broken energy weapon. Their technology is advanced, but it has weaknesses. Maybe we can use this someday. The youngest crew member, Nam Ji-woo, had the hardest job. She was forced to work in the communication center. The Zephyrians made her listen to messages from across their empire. She had to translate human languages for them. This made her learn terrible things. She heard about other prison worlds. She heard about humans being used for experiments. She heard about entire planets being destroyed. The Zephyrians were not just cruel to humans. They were cruel to everyone who was not like them. At night, when the guards thought the humans were sleeping, Captain Kim Tae-ho moved quietly through the prison. He talked to his crew members in whispers. He was building a network of people who would help each other. Listen carefully, he told a small group of officers. We are not just trying to survive. We are gathering information. We are getting stronger. One day we will get out of here. Lieutenant Commander Lee Dong-woo was teaching the other humans how to fight without weapons. In the dark corners of the prison, he showed them how to use their hands and feet as weapons. He taught them how to move quietly and how to hide. The Zephyrians think we are weak, he whispered to his students. They think humans are soft, but we are not. We are survivors. We have been through wars and disasters on Earth. We can handle this too. The humans learned to work together in ways the Zephyrians did not expect. When someone got sick, others shared their food. When someone was hurt, others helped them work. When someone was sad, others gave them hope. But the worst thing was the experiments. Some humans were taken to special rooms where Zephyrian scientists did terrible things to them. They tested new drugs. They cut people open to see how human bodies worked. They tried to change human DNA. Dr. Park So-min was forced to watch these experiments. She had to write reports about what happened. It broke her heart. But she also learned the truth about what the Zephyrians were really doing. One night she whispered to Captain Kim Tae-ho, "Captain, they are not just studying us. They are trying to make weapons from human DNA. They want to use our genes to make diseases that will kill other humans." Kim Tae-ho felt anger burn in his chest. How many humans have they tested on? Too many, Dr. Park said sadly. But I think I understand their science now. Maybe we can use that knowledge against them someday. The months passed slowly. Many humans died from the hard work, the bad food, and the cruel experiments. But the ones who lived became stronger and smarter. They learned to hate their captors, but they also learned to wait for the right moment. Engineer Choi Hye-jin became an expert on Zephyrian technology. She could fix their machines better than their own workers, but she also learned how to break them in ways that looked like accidents. Communications officer Nam Ji-woo learned to speak the Zephyrian language perfectly. She also learned to use their computers. When the guards were not watching, she tried to find information about other prisoners and other worlds. After 2 years in the prison, the crew of the Defiant Dawn was very different from the explorers, who had left Earth. They were thinner and scarred. Their eyes were hard. They had seen too much death and pain. But they were also more united than ever before. They had become a family of survivors. Every person knew they could count on the others. Every person was ready to fight and die for their crewmates. Captain Kim Tae-ho looked at his people during their secret meetings. He saw strength in their faces. He saw intelligence in their eyes. He saw something else too. He saw the same anger that burned in his own heart. The Zephyrians think they have broken us, he told them quietly. They think we are just slaves, now, But they are wrong. We are not broken. We are being forged into something stronger. Lee Dongwu nodded. What do you want us to do, Captain? Kim Tae-ho looked at each face in the dim light. We are going to escape, but we are not just going to run away. We are going to make them pay for what they have done to us and to all the others. Dr. Park So-min spoke up. Captain, I have learned things about their biology, things that could help us. Engineer Choi Hee-jin added, and I know their machines now. I know how to turn their own technology against them. Nam Ji-woo whispered, I know where their important systems are located. I know their passwords and their security codes. The captain smiled for the first time in months. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a man who was planning revenge. Then we start preparing, he said. We are going home. But first we are going to teach these aliens what happens when you hurt humans. In the darkness of the alien prison, the crew of the Defiant Dawn began to plan. They did not know that their escape would change the galaxy forever. They only knew that they would not die as slaves. They would die as free humans, or they would live to see their enemies destroyed. Communications officer Nam Ji-woo had become very good at hiding. After 2.5 years in the prison, she knew every corner and shadow. The Zephyrians trusted her now because she did her work well. They did not know she was also stealing their secrets. Tonight she crawled through the air vents above the main computer room. Her small size helped her move quietly through spaces too narrow for the big aliens. She had been planning this for months. Tonight she would finally access the main database. Below her, 2 Zephyrian guards talked in their harsh language. Nam Ji-woo understood every word now. She had learned their language perfectly. The new shipment from Sector 9 arrives tomorrow, one guard said. 3,000 more test subjects. Good, the other replied. The scientists need more bodies for the weapon tests. The last batch died too quickly. Nam Ji-woo felt sick, but she kept listening. She needed to know more. How many species have we processed this cycle? The first guard asked. 12 complete extinctions. The Kelvani were finished last month. Their planet is ready for mining now. Nam Ji-woo's hands shook. 12 entire species wiped out. She had to tell the others. When the guards left, she dropped down into the computer room. Her fingers moved quickly over the alien keyboard. She had watched the operators many times. She knew the passwords. The screen filled with information that made her heart stop. Lists of planets, lists of species, all marked with the same word, in Zephyrian language, processed. She scrolled through the data. The Rilani people, processed 3 years ago. The Thoric civilization, processed 5 years ago. Page after page of dead worlds and extinct species. Over 200 different peoples, all gone forever. Then she found something even worse. A file labeled Terra Sector. Her home. Earth. The file contained detailed plans. Maps of Earth's solar system. Information about human military strength. Population counts. Resource surveys. And at the bottom, a date. Scheduled for harvesting. Earth Standard Year 2392. Earth had less than 3 years left. Nam Ji-woo copied everything onto a small data device. She had to be careful. If the Zephyrians caught her, they would kill her slowly. But this information was too important to lose. The next morning, she found a way to speak privately with Dr. Park So-min. They met in the medical storage room where the guards rarely went. Doctor, I found something terrible, Nam Ji-woo whispered. She showed Dr. Park the data device. Look at this. Dr. Park connected the device to a hidden scanner she had built, from spare parts. As she read the files, her face turned white. Oh no, this cannot be real. It is real, Doctor. The Zephyrians have killed hundreds of species, and Earth is next. Dr. Park sat down heavily. She had thought the aliens were just cruel slavers. She had not known they were destroyers of entire worlds. We have to tell the captain. That night, Captain Kim Tae-ho gathered his closest officers in their secret meeting place. It was a small room deep in the mine where the guards never went. The walls blocked sound, so they could speak normally. What Nam found changes everything, the captain said after hearing the report. We are not just prisoners. We are witnesses to the greatest crime in galactic history. Lieutenant Commander Lee Dongwu clenched his fists. 200 species. How is that possible? Where were the other galactic powers? Why did no one stop them? Dr. Park So-min had been studying the data all day. I think I know how they do. Look at this pattern. They never attack strong civilizations directly. They target species that are alone or weak. They use tricks and traps, like they did to us. Engineer Choi Hyejin pointed to another file. They have been doing this for over 1,000 years. They start with the weak ones, then use their resources to attack stronger ones. Each victory makes them more powerful. Captain Kim Tae-ho studied a map of the galaxy. Red dots showed dead worlds. There were so many red dots. They are like a disease. They spread from system to system, killing everything in their path. Captain, Nam Ji-woo said quietly. There is more. I found files about their weapon research. They are not just killing people. They are using the DNA from dead species to make biological weapons. They have diseases that can kill any species they want. The room fell silent. Each person understood what this meant. The Zephyrians were not just killers. They were creators of perfect death. Dr. Park So-min spoke first. If they reach Earth with those weapons, humanity will not have a chance. Our military is strong, but they cannot fight diseases that attack human DNA specifically. How long do we have? Lee Dongwu asked. Less than 3 years, Nam Ji-woo replied. But that is just Earth. They have other targets too. The Centauri, colonies, the Mars settlements. Every human world is marked for death. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood up and walked to the wall. He put his hand against the cold stone. For a long time he said nothing. His officers waited. They knew he was thinking about something important. Finally, he turned back to them. We cannot just escape and warn Earth. Even if we somehow got home, what could we tell them? That an empire, with technology far beyond ours, is coming to kill everyone? Earth would panic, but they could not win a war against the Zephyrians. Then what do we do? Choi Hyejin asked. The captain's eyes were hard as steel. We have to stop them here. We have to hit them so hard that they cannot continue their plan. Lee Dongwu shook his head. Captain, we are just 800 people. They have billions of soldiers and thousands of ships. But we know their secrets now, Dr. Park said. I have been studying their biology for 2 years. I know their weaknesses. Nam Ji-woo nodded. And I know their computer systems. I can get into any database they have. Choi Hyejin added. I understand their technology better than most of their own engineers. I know how to make their machines work for us instead of against us. Captain Kim Tae-ho smiled grimly. Then we have what we need. We have knowledge. We have skills. And we have something else. What is that, Captain? Lee Dongwu asked. We have the rage of 200 dead civilizations. We have the fury of every murdered child, every destroyed family, every extinct species. They have awakened something in us that they do not understand. Dr. Park So-min stood up. What are you planning, Captain? Kim Tae-ho looked at each of his officers. These people had been through hell with him. They had watched their friends die. They had been tortured and used like animals, but they had survived. They had grown stronger. We are going to escape from this prison, he said, but we are not going to run away. We are going to take their weapons. We are going to take their ships. We are going to use everything they have taught us against them. That sounds impossible, Nam Ji-woo whispered. Maybe it is impossible, the captain agreed. But we are humans. We do impossible things. We have climbed the highest mountains on Earth. We have crossed oceans in small boats. We have built cities in space. Now we are going to do something even harder. What is that? Lee Dongwu asked. Captain Kim Tae-ho's voice was quiet but full of deadly promise. We are going to make sure that the Zephyrian Empire never hurts anyone again. We are going to be the weapon that stops them. The officers looked at each other. They all knew the plan was dangerous. They all knew they would probably die trying. But they also knew they had no choice. Earth was going to die unless someone stopped the Zephyrians. The remaining free species in the galaxy were going to die unless someone fought back. The memory of 200 extinct civilizations demanded justice. "When do we start?" Dr. Park asked. "Tomorrow," Captain Kim Tae-ho said. "We have spent 2 years learning to be prisoners. Now we learn to be something else." "What is that?" Nam Ji-woo asked. The captain's smile was cold and terrible. "We learn to be the nightmare that comes for monsters in the dark." Outside the hidden room, the prison continued its normal routine. Guards walked their patrols. Prisoners worked in the mines. The Zephyrian Empire continued its plans to destroy more worlds. But in the darkness of Keth 7, something new was being born. The crew of the Defiant Dawn was becoming something their enemies had never faced before. They were becoming human vengeance given form. The uprising began at dawn on the 3rd anniversary of their capture. Captain Kim Tae-ho had spent 6 months planning every detail. Today, the crew of the Defiant Dawn would either die as free humans or live to see their enemies destroyed. Engineer Choi Hee-jin stood in the power station where she had worked for 3 years. She knew every wire and every circuit. The Zephyrian guards trusted her completely now. They had no idea she had been secretly preparing for this moment. "Are you ready?" She whispered into the small communication device Nam Ji-woo had built from stolen parts. "Ready," came the reply from Captain Kim Tae-ho. "Begin the blackout." Choi Hye-jin's hands moved quickly over the controls. She had practiced this 100 times in her mind. First, she shut down the backup power systems. Then she caused an overload in the main generators. Sparks flew from the control panels as the entire prison went dark. Emergency lights came on, but they were dim and red. The Zephyrian guards started shouting in confusion. They could not see properly in the dark, but humans could see better than they could. In the medical center, Dr. Park So-min was ready. She had spent months creating a special gas from the chemicals in the alien medical supplies. When she released it into the air system, it would not hurt humans, but it would make Zephyrians very sick and weak. She put on the mask she had made and opened the gas containers. "Sleep well, monsters," she whispered, as the invisible poison spread through the prison. Lieutenant Commander Lee Dong-woo led the first attack team. For 3 years, he had been teaching other humans how to fight without weapons. Now it was time to use those skills. His team moved through the dark hallways like shadows. The first guard they met was already feeling sick from Dr. Park's gas. Lee Dong-woo grabbed the alien's electric stick and used it against him. The guard fell down and did not get up. "Take his weapons," Lee Dong-woo told his team. "Remember, we need to capture the armory first." All over the prison, human teams attacked at the same time. The Zephyrians were confused and weak. They had never expected the weak humans to fight back so well. The prisoners they had tortured for years were now moving like trained soldiers. Nam Ji-woo ran through the communication center with a small team. She knew exactly where to go. The alien operators were trying to call for help, but she had already cut the main communication lines from the outside. "Stop them!" one operator shouted in Zephyrian. Nam Ji-woo hit the alien with a metal bar. "No," she said in perfect Zephyrian. "You stop." She sat down at the main communication console and began typing quickly. She sent false messages to the Zephyrian fleet, telling them everything was normal on Keth 7. Then she started downloading files about other prison worlds and fleet locations. Captain Kim Tae-ho fought his way toward the prison commander's office. He needed the access codes for the weapon systems. 2 Zephyrian guards tried to stop him, but they were already weak from the gas. Kim Tae-ho had learned to fight during his time as a prisoner. He defeated both guards and took their weapons. 3. Prison commander was a big Zephyrian named Vex Thokra. He had been the one who ordered the torture of so many humans. When Kim Tae-ho kicked down his door, the alien was trying to escape through a back exit. "Going somewhere?" Kim Tae-ho asked, pointing a captured energy weapon at the alien. Vex Thokra turned around. His forearms shook with fear. "You cannot do this. You are just primitives. You are slaves." "Not anymore," Kim Tae-ho said. He made the alien give him all the security codes. Then he locked the commander in his own prison cell. By noon, the humans controlled the entire prison. But Captain Kim Tae-ho's plan was much bigger than just escaping. He had seen the files about other species being held prisoner on Keth 7. The Zephyrians kept different aliens in separate buildings. Lee, take your team to the Vrex compound, he ordered. Nam, translate for us. Tell them we are here to help. The Vrex were tall, thin aliens with blue skin. They had been prisoners for 5 years. When Lee Dongwoo broke down their prison doors, they thought it was a trick. Who are you? Their leader asked through Nam Ji-woo's translation. We are humans, Kim Tae-ho said. We have been prisoners here too. Now we are free and we want to help you be free too. The Vrex leader looked confused. Why would you help us? We are not your people. Because the Zephyrians are everyone's enemy, Kim Tae-ho replied. They killed your world and our world is next. If we work together, we can stop them. Soon, the humans had freed prisoners from 6 different species. There were Vrex, Kalani, Thek, Marathi, Zilith, and Kefri. All of them had lost their homeworlds to the Zephyrians. All of them wanted revenge. But the biggest prize was still coming. Dr. Park So-min had found information about a Zephyrian warship that was coming to Keth 7. It was called the Void Render, and it was one of their most powerful ships. When will it arrive? Kim Tae-ho asked. In 2 hours, Dr. Park replied. It is bringing more prisoners and taking away supplies. Choi Hye-jin smiled. Captain, I have an idea. What if we let them land, then take their ship? How? I have been studying their ship designs for 3 years. I know exactly how their systems work. If we can get on board, I can turn their own weapons against them. The plan was dangerous, but it was also their best chance. When the Void Render landed at the prison spaceport, the crew thought everything was normal. The communication tower sent the correct signals. The landing lights were working. There was no sign of trouble. But as soon as the ship's doors opened, the freed prisoners attacked. The Zephyrian crew was not ready for a fight. They thought they were just making a routine supply run. Lee Dongwoo led the boarding party. Behind him came humans, Vrex, Kalani, and others. They moved through the ship like a storm of anger. The Zephyrian crew tried to fight back, but they were outnumbered and surprised. In 30 minutes, the Void Render belonged to the freed prisoners. Choi Hye-jin ran to the ship's engine room. This is beautiful, she said as she looked at the advanced technology. Captain, this ship has weapons that can destroy entire cities. It has shields that can stop any attack. It has engines that can travel faster than anything humans have ever built. Nam Ji-woo took control of the ship's computer systems. I am downloading their entire database, she reported. Star maps, fleet positions, weapon designs, everything. Dr. Park So-min found something even more valuable in the ship's laboratory. Captain, they have biological weapons here, diseases that can kill specific species, but I can change them. I can make weapons that only work against Zephyrians. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the captured ship and looked out at the red sky of Keth 7. 3 years ago, he had been a simple explorer. Now, he was the commander of a warship and the leader of a multi-species alliance. What are our orders, Captain? Lee Dongwoo asked. Kim Tae-ho thought about all the dead worlds he had seen in the Zephyrian files. He thought about Earth, scheduled to die in less than 3 years. He thought about the 200 extinct species that would never see justice, unless someone fought for them. We are going to visit every Zephyrian facility in this sector, he said. We are going to free every prisoner. We are going to capture every ship. We are going to learn everything about their empire. And then, Dr. Park asked. Then we are going to their homeworld, Kim Tae-ho said. We are going to end the Zephyrian Empire forever. The freed prisoners cheered. Humans, Vrex, Kalani, and others all shouted together. They had found something more powerful than any weapon. They had found hope. Over the next 6 months, the Void Render and its growing fleet attacked prison after prison. Each victory brought more allies. Each captured ship made them stronger. The crew of the Defiant Dawn learned to use Zephyrian technology, better than the Zephyrians themselves. Dr. Park created biological weapons that could kill Zephyrians without hurting other species. Choi Hai-jin built new weapons from captured technology. Nam Ji-woo became a master of Zephyrian computer systems. Lee Dong-woo trained alien soldiers to fight like humans. Captain Kim Tae-ho became something the galaxy had never seen before. He was a human leading an army of different species, all united by their hatred of the Zephyrians. His fleet grew to 50 ships. His army grew to 50,000 soldiers. But the biggest change was in Kim Tae-ho himself. The kind explorer who had left Earth was gone. In his place was someone harder and more dangerous, someone who had seen too much death and suffering, someone who would do anything to stop the monsters who destroyed worlds. "Are we ready for the final attack?" Lee Dong-woo asked as they prepared to leave for the Zephyrian home system. Kim Tae-ho looked at the star map. The Zephyrian capital was defended by thousands of ships. It would be the hardest battle in galactic history. "Yes," he said. "It is time to go home and collect our debt." The Zephyrian home system had never been attacked in over 1,000 years. It was the heart of their empire, protected by 5,000 warships and massive space stations. The planet Zephyria Prime was home to 10 billion aliens who thought they were the masters of the galaxy. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the Void Render, looking at the enemy fleet through the main screen. His own fleet had grown to 120 ships, crewed by humans and freed aliens from 50 different species. It was still much smaller than the Zephyrian fleet, but Kim Tae-ho had learned that numbers were not everything. "All ships. Report ready, Captain," Communications Officer Nam Ji-woo said. She was now the fleet's chief communications officer, commanding a team of translators from many species. "Dr. Park, is the weapon ready?" Kim Tae-ho asked. Dr. Park So-min checked her instruments. She had spent months perfecting a biological weapon that would only affect Zephyrians. It was made from their own research, turned against them. "Ready, Captain. Once we release it into their atmosphere, every Zephyrian on the planet will become very sick. They will not die, but they will be too weak to fight." "Good. We are not here to commit genocide like they did. We are here for justice." "Lieutenant." Commander Lee Dong-woo commanded the assault teams. "Captain, our boarding parties are ready. We have Rex soldiers, Kolani fighters, Thek warriors, and our own Marines. They all want to see the Zephyrian leaders face justice." Engineer Choi Hee-jin had turned their captured ships into something amazing. "Captain, I have modified our weapons with Zephyrian technology. Our shields are stronger than theirs now. Our guns can punch through their best armor." Kim Tae-ho nodded. "Begin the attack." The battle for the Zephyrian home system was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Kim Tae-ho's fleet did not attack like the Zephyrians expected. Instead of charging forward, they used human tactics. The first wave was small and fast. 30 ships flew straight at the enemy, firing everything they had. The Zephyrians thought this was the main attack and sent most of their fleet to stop them. But while the enemy was busy fighting the first wave, the real attack came from behind. 90 ships had used stealth technology to hide on the other side of the system. Now they struck at the Zephyrian command ships and space stations. "Direct hit on their flagship," Nam Ji-woo reported. "The enemy commander's ship is destroyed." Without their leaders, the Zephyrian fleet fell into chaos. They had always been bullies who attacked weak enemies. They did not know how to fight a real battle against an enemy that fought back. Choi Hye-jin's weapon modifications proved their worth. The human-designed energy cannons cut through Zephyrian shields like they were made of paper. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries exploded in brilliant flashes of light. "This is for the Rilani," shouted a Vrex captain as his ship destroyed a Zephyrian cruiser. "This is for the Thorek," called a Kalani commander as her fighters swarmed an enemy battleship. Each species in the Alliance fought for their dead homeworlds and murdered families. The Zephyrians had created an army of enemies without realizing it. The space battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the mighty Zephyrian fleet was destroyed. Burning wrecks floated in space where proud warships had been. The survivors surrendered, or tried to escape. But Kim Tae-ho was not finished. The real target was the planet below. "Dr. Park, release the weapon," he ordered. Specially designed missiles carried Dr. Park's biological weapon into the planet's atmosphere. Within hours, every Zephyrian on the surface became sick and weak. They could not fight, but they would live to face justice. Landing ships filled with Alliance soldiers descended to the planet. Li Dongwu led the assault on the capital city. The Zephyrian Emperor's palace was a huge building made of black stone, designed to show the power of the empire. "Surrender now and you will be treated fairly," Li Dongwu broadcast in the Zephyrian language as his troops surrounded the palace. The emperor, Vex Morthak, the destroyer, was a giant Zephyrian with 6 arms and golden armor. He had ruled the empire for 300 years and ordered the death of billions. Now he cowered in his throne room as human soldiers and freed aliens marched through his palace. Captain Kim Tae-ho walked into the throne room with representatives from every species in his alliance. The emperor tried to stand, but Dr. Park's weapon had made him too weak. "You cannot do this," the emperor gasped. "We are the masters of the galaxy. You are nothing but primitives." Kim Tae-ho looked at the alien who had ordered the death of 200 species. "We were primitives when we left Earth 3 years ago, but you taught us to be something else. You made us into your worst nightmare. What do you want?" the emperor asked. "Justice," said a Vrex representative whose entire family had been killed. "Payment for our dead," added a Kolani whose world had been strip-mined to nothing. "The end of your empire," finished Kim Tae-ho. The trial of the Zephyrian leaders was broadcast across the galaxy. For the first time, other species learned the truth about the genocide. They saw the evidence of 200 murdered civilizations. They heard testimony from survivors. Many galactic powers who had ignored the Zephyrian crimes now felt ashamed. They had known something was wrong, but they had not wanted to get involved. They had let the empire grow stronger while innocent species died. The emperor and his generals were found guilty of genocide. Their punishment was to spend the rest of their lives in prison, thinking about all the people they had killed. But Kim Tae-ho's mission was not complete. He still had to go home. 3 years and 4 months after the Defiant Dawn had disappeared, Earth's deep space sensors detected ships approaching the solar system. At first, the human military prepared for an attack. The ships were using unknown technology and flying in formation like a war fleet. But then the communications came through. "Earth Control, this is Captain Kim Tae-ho of the Defiant Dawn. We are coming home." The joy on Earth was incredible. The crew that everyone thought was dead was alive. But as the ships got closer, people realized something amazing had happened. The Defiant Dawn was not alone. She was leading a fleet of over 100 ships from dozens of different species. Kim Tae-ho was not just returning as a lost explorer. He was coming home as the leader of a galactic alliance. When the ships landed on Earth, crowds of millions came to see them. The crew members looked different from when they had left. They were harder, older, and scarred by their experiences. But they had survived. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood before the leaders of Earth and told them everything. He showed them the evidence of the Zephyrian genocide. He explained how close Earth had come to being destroyed. He introduced them to the alien allies who had fought beside humans. "We left Earth as explorers," he said. "We return as defenders of the innocent and enemies of tyranny." The alliance that Kim Tae-ho had built became the foundation for a new, galactic government. Earth became the capital, not because humans were superior, but because they had proven they would fight for others, even when it was dangerous. Dr. Park So-min established medical schools where human doctors taught alien students. Engineer Choi Hye-jin shared human technology with other species. Communications officer Nam Ji-woo created a universal translation system, so all species could understand each other. Lieutenant Commander Lee Dong-woo founded a military academy, where soldiers from every species trained together to defend against future threats. But Captain Kim Tae-ho's greatest achievement was not military or political. It was moral. He had shown the galaxy that genocide would not be tolerated. He had proven that different species could work together when they shared common values. The crew of the Defiant Dawn had left Earth as 847 explorers. They returned as the founders of a new age of galactic cooperation and justice. Other species who had once dismissed humans now came to Earth asking for friendship and alliance. The galaxy had learned that humans were not just another primitive species. They were something more dangerous to tyrants and more valuable to the innocent. They were humans, and humans did not abandon those who needed help. Years later, when children from many species learned about galactic history, they always heard the story of the lost ship that returned with wrath. It became a legend that inspired heroes and frightened dictators. The Defiant Dawn was never just a ship that got lost. It was the vessel that carried human determination to the stars and brought justice back home. And Captain Kim Tae-ho was never just an explorer who survived. He was the man who taught the galaxy that sometimes the greatest act of love is righteous anger in defense of the innocent. The galaxy was a better place because humans had learned to fight for others, not just themselves. The end.